Good morning, students. In last class we have studied the three coverings, that means the brain and spinal cord or central nervous system is covered by the skull as well as the vertebral column. Not only skull and also vertebral column, it is protected by the other three components it protecting. Such three components are, one is we can call as a meninges, and second one is called as the cerebrospinal fluid, and the third one is called as the gray as well as the white matter. So these are the three coverings which is covered by the brain as well as the spinal cord that is present in a central nervous system. And also we have studied the classification of the neural system, where it is classified into central nervous system and also the peripheral nervous system. Again, the peripheral nervous system is divided into somatic as well as the autonomous, the nervous systems that are already we are discussed in the last class. Now coming to the next one, that is a structure of the brain, or otherwise we can call that as the cerebrum. So here the brain is the controlling, it is the central information processing unit of the organ. That means it is a central information processing organ present in our body, where here the central information processing, that means all information which is present in our body that are taken place or that are sent through the brain only. So that here it is called as a central information processing an organ. That means here all information are passes through the brain only, that is either a voluntary as well as an involuntary actions which are taken place in our body, that are should be taken place through the help of a brain only, that should be taken place. So that the brain is called as a central information processing organ which is present in our body. Not only that one, here it helpful for the commanding as well as the controlling a system of our body. Here it is called as the command and also the controlling a system of the body, that we can call as the brain, where here it is that means the brain which is presenting it passes the information both here a voluntary as well as an involuntary actions which are taken place in our body, that is mainly taken place with the help of these brain only or the cerebrum only. So here it is a very important organ present in a central nervous system. It is a brain is a very important organ present in a central nervous system, where it performs the various functions. It performs the various functions such as it helpful for giving, that means it is mainly in the form of an intelligence as well as in the form of a consciousness. It helpful for the thirsty as well as a fear, a hunger. All these activities or motivation, that all activities which are taken place, that will be taken place by the brain only. So brain will perform the all very important organ present in our body, and also plays a very important role, and also performs many functions are performed by the brain, where will having different regions are present in the brain. So here the brain which is presenting, that is the brain which is consisting of the brain that is consisting of 2 to 3 thickness of the 2 to 3 4 centimeters, 4 millimeters thickness which is presenting in our body, we can call as that is called as cerebral cortex. We can call that as the cerebral cortex. So what is the cerebral cortex? Means it is the thickness where it is surrounded by the brain, that is 2 to 2 to 4 centimeters thickness which is presenting. So here 2 to 3, 4 centimeters thickness which is presenting, that is called as the cerebral cortex, where this cerebral cortex is covered by the gray as well as the white matter. It is covered by the gray. It is covered by a gray as well as the white matter. It is surrounded by a gray as well as the white matter. The gray matter will consist of the gray matter, that means the gray matter consists of the cyton and as well as the dendrites are presenting, where here already studied the gray matter. Why you can call as gray matter means in the cyton, the nucleus which is presenting, it appears as the color of the nucleus is gray in color. Due to the presence of gray in color, this matter is called as the gray matter, where here it consists of the cyton as well as the dendrites are presenting. In gray matter, here it consists of the cyton and the dendrites. It consists of the cyton and the dendrites are presenting. And in white matter, here it consists of a myelinated and axons are presenting, where these myelinated axons are in white in color. So this condition, it is called as the white matter, where it is surrounded by the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is covered by gray as well as white matter, which is having thickness of 2 to 4 centimeters thickness is presenting. Such region is called as the cerebral cortex. This cerebral cortex will be presenting outer surface will occupies the gray in brain. The outer surface is occupied by the gray matter and inner surface is occupied by the white matter, where the cerebrum, that means the cerebral cortex is differentiated into two cerebral hemispheres. It is divided into, that means the cerebral cortex is differentiated. The cerebral cortex is differentiated into two cerebral hemispheres. It is differentiated into two cerebral hemispheres. So that two cerebral hemispheres which are presenting, it is connected by a thick white narrow bands are connecting. So the two cerebral hemispheres which connects the two cerebral hemispheres which is connected by a thick white narrow bands. These are a thick white narrow bands. A thick narrow bands which is connecting between two cerebral hemispheres. That region is called as the corpus callosum. So here what is a corpus callosum means? It is a thick white narrow bands. It is a thick white narrow bands which connects between two cerebral which connects the two cerebral hemispheres. Such region is called as the corpus callosum. And here the cerebral cortex which is consisting will having a muscular, that means consisting of foldings or convolutions are presenting. The cerebral cortex which consisting here the foldings are convolutions are presenting. The foldings or convolutions which are presenting, they are called as the gyrae. They are called as the gyrae. So here these are called as the gyrae, and these are called as the sulci. So here will having the muscle, that is foldings are presenting. The cerebral cortex consisting of many foldings are presenting. Many foldings are convolutions are presenting. That foldings are convolutions which are presenting above the cerebral cortex. That foldings are called as a gyrae. These gyrae are helpful for the increasing the surface area of the brain. The gyrae are helpful for an increasing surface area of the that is the brain that is helpful for increasing a surface area that are called as the gyrase, and will having the small slit-like structures are called as, that means in between the gyrase you can call them as a sulci. We can call as the sulci. That means between the two gyrase you are having the sulci are presenting, and also consists of the, once again, here the grooves which are present, that means the foldings which are presenting are called as a gyrase, and that the two gyrases which are separated by a grooves, by the grooves, so that grooves are called as the sulci. That means what are sulci means the grooves which are separated by so here the gyrases are separated. Gyrases are separated by the grooves, grooves called as the sulci. They are called as the sulci. So what are sulci means? The gyrases which are, that means the two gyrases which are presenting, they are separated by a grooves. That grooves are called as the sulci, and a deep sulcus. The deep sulcus, a deep sulcus we can call as the fissures. The deep sulcus are called as the fissures, where the fissures will divide the cerebrum into four lobes. That means the cerebrum, the fissures divides the cerebrum into four lobes. They are divided into four lobes. First one is called as a frontal lobe. First one is the frontal lobe. The second one is a parietal lobe. Third one is the temporal lobe, and the fourth one is an occipital lobe. So these are the four lobes which separates, that is called as, that means the fissures, the deep sulcus are called as fissures. So here these are the fissures. So here these are called as the fissures. That means deep sulcus which are presenting, they are called as the fissures. The fissures will divide the brain into four lobes, such as one is called as a frontal lobe, parietal, temporal, and an occipital. So the fissure which separates the frontal and parietal lobe, that is called as central fissure. They are called as central fissure, or otherwise it is called as the fissure of Ronaldo, or otherwise it is called as the fissure of Ronaldo. So the fissure, what is the fissure of Ronaldo means? The fissure which separates the frontal and parietal lobe. That fissure is called as a fissure of fissure is called as the fissure of Ronaldo, or a central fissure. And the fissure which separates the frontal and temporal lobe, it is called as a lateral fissure. It is called as the lateral fissure, or otherwise lateral fissure, or otherwise it is called as the Celvillian fissure. It is called as the Celvillian fissure. And the fissure which separates the frontal and temporal we can call as lateral or Celvillian fissure. The fissure which separates the frontal and parietal is called as the central fissure or fissure of Ronaldo, and the fissure which separates the parietal and occipital. The fissure which separates parietal and occipital we can call as a parieto-occipital fissure. The fissure which separates the frontal and occipital. So this lobe is called as the parieto-occipital lobe. And the fissure which separates the temporal and occipital is called as a tempo-occipital lobe. It is called as the fissure which separates the temporal and occipital is called as a tempo-occipital fissure. So here it is divided into 4 lobes. The first one is the frontal. The frontal is divided into a parietal lobe, is called as central fissure, or otherwise is called as fissure of Ronaldo, and the fissure which separates frontal and temporal is called as lateral or a Celvillian fissure. The fissure which separates parietal and occipital is called as a parieto-occipital lobe, and the fissure which separates the temporal and occipital is called as a tempo-occipital lobes. And here on the ventral surface of the brain, will consist of an olfactory lobes are presenting. Here will consist of on the ventral surface it consisting of lobes are presenting, where these olfactory lobes will consist of the olfactory lobes, where these olfactory lobes will consist of the olfactory tracts. It consists of the olfactory tracts and the olfactory bulbs. It consists of the olfactory tracts and also olfactory lobes, where here these olfactory lobes which are present in humans that are not be well developed. These are not well developed. Why means here these olfactory lobes are meant for olfaction, knowing about the smell of the substances. But in humans, will having a most sense organ is presenting, that is called as a nose, which is presenting a sense organ which acts as an olfaction, that is knowing about the smell of the substances. The nose is helpful for knowing the smell of the substances, so that here the olfactory lobes which are present on the ventral surface of the brain, they are not be well developed in the humans. Why means they are not meant for the olfaction. But in other than the mammals, that is other than humans, in other mammals or other vertebrates, these are well developed is taken place, where these are helpful for knowing the olfaction, the smell of the substances that will be taken place. So that they are well developed in other mammals, but in humans these are not well developed. By means here the nose is well developed. Here nose is a sense organ knowing about the smell of the substances. So these olfactory lobes are not be well developed, but they are divided into an olfactory tracts as well as olfactory lobes. And also here inside the ventricles, that is in cerebrum, here the cavities are presenting. Here inside the cerebrum, they are consisting of the cavities. The cavities which are presenting, we can call them as the ventricles. That means they are called as the ventricles. Here the ventricles of the brain, that means here the cavities which are present in a brain, they are called as ventricles. So here brain consists of ventricles. That ventricles are opened. The first ventricle is opened into second is opened into third, and third is opened into the fourth ventricle of the medulla oblongata, that will be opened. So here the first ventricle is opened into second is opened into a third ventricle. So the third ventricle is called as a diastole also. That means that is opened into the diencephalon, or that is the thalamus, that in the midbrain, that will be opened. So that is the ventricles which are presenting that are called as the cavities, the cavities which are present in brain or cerebrum, we can call as the ventricles. So this is where that is taken place, the cerebrum. And here the cerebrum is differentiated, that is the cerebrum which is presenting, that is a cerebrum. And again the cerebrum, it consists of other two parts. The two parts are called as the thalamus as well as the hypothalamus. So these two regions, thalamus and hypothalamus, that means it is the outer part, it is divided, that means forebrain is differentiated into two regions. One is the cerebrum and that is the diencephalon. In diencephalon will consist of the two parts, one is the thalamus as well as the hypothalamus. What are that now will be discussed. Now coming to the diencephalon. So here cerebrum, the forebrain is divided into two regions. One is called as cerebrum and second one is called as a diencephalon. Again, what is the diencephalon means? Dien means or it is called as dien means two, or otherwise in Arabic here it is called as twin. Twin means die. It is a twin. It is called as a twin brain. Brain. So here a twin means a die. So here having two parts are presenting, where this diencephalon is presenting between, it is present between cerebrum. It is present between cerebrum and a midbrain. It is present between the cerebrum and the midbrain, where here this it is that means diencephalon or midbrain, where here the cavities, that means the third ventricle is opened into the fourth ventricle. The third ventricle is opened into a fourth ventricle, open into a fourth ventricle of medulla oblongata through the aorta, or otherwise is called as the cerebral aqueduct, which is open into the midbrain. So here fourth ventricle is third ventricle of diastole. Here the third ventricle is also called as the diastole. Diastole, it is called as the third ventricle is also called as a diastole. Why means here it is present in a diencephalon. Third ventricle is present in a diencephalon, so it is called as diastole. The third ventricle is open into the fourth ventricle of medulla oblongata through a passage called as aorta, or otherwise it is called as a cerebral aqueduct, which is present in the midbrain. And these the diencephalon is differentiated into two regions. One is called as the thalamus. First one is called as the thalamus. It is differentiated into the first region is called as the thalamus, and second one is called as the hypothalamus. So here the thalamus as well as the hypothalamus which is presenting here. This thalamus which is a oval in shape. It is a oval shaped, a oval mass-like shaped or mass-like oval mass-like structure which is consisting of which is covered by the gray matter, where here in these thalamus the third ventricle is open into the fourth ventricle, that is called through the passage called as aorta, or otherwise it is called as a cerebral aqueduct. So that is called as, that means in thalamus the third ventricle is called as a diocele, where the third ventricle is open into the fourth ventricle of the medulla oblongata to a passage called as aorta or a cerebral aqueduct which is present in the mid brain. And the hypothalamus, below the thalamus, it is presenting where it is the sides and the floor and sides of the hypothalamus is covered by the hypothalamus. It is occupied the floor and the sides of the thalamus, the floor and the thalamus. So that is where it having a stalk-like structure is presenting. That stalk-like structure is called as an infundibulum. Infundibulum. It is consisting a stalk-like structure. That stalk-like structure where it is presenting that is called as an infundibulum, where it is attached to the pituitary gland, to the hypothalamus. So that means below the thalamus which is presenting is called as the hypothalamus. So these are the two structures where they are present in a diencephalon. Dien means two, cephalon means that means here two divisions or two parts are presenting. One is called as a thalamus and hypothalamus. So it is diencephalon is also called as a twin brain also. It is called as a twin brain. Why means in Arabic twin means refers to the a die. So it is called as a diencephalon. Now coming to the functions of the cerebrum as well as the functions of cerebrum as well as the thalamus as well as the hypothalamus. So coming to the functions of the cerebrum. So here the cerebrum functions of the cerebrum. The functions of the cerebrum. So here the main functions of the cerebrum is an intelligence, memory. Here the memory and also the consciousness and also the sensation not only intelligence, memory, consciousness and a sensation, and also these are responsible for the speech. These are responsible for a speech also. That speech can be seen only in humans. That will seen in only in humans. It can be seen, and also here these mainly not only maintaining that means not only meant for intelligence, memory, consciousness and sensation, and not only for speech. Here these are responsible for the laughing, weeping, maturation and the defecation also. These are meant for the, that means the cerebrum. Cerebrum is meant for the functions. Functions of a cerebrum. So here it is responsible for laughing, It is responsible for laughing, weeping, and also the maturation, and also defecation. So these are the various the functions which is performed by the a cerebrum, that is laughing, weeping means crying, as well as maturation, that means releasing of urine from the urinary bladder, that is called as maturation, and defecation, removing of excreting of waste material through the anus, the excreting of the waste materials through the anus, that is called as defecation. So these are under the control of the cerebrum. And coming to the functions of the thalamus, here these are the relay center for the information, relay center for information. These are main relay center for conducting informations. The functions of a thalamus. So these are the main relay center for conducting information, conducting an information. So these are the main function, that is the main function of the thalamus is main relay center for conducting an information, that is main function of the thalamus. And here along with the thalamus, here it consists of the cerebrum, that is cerebral hemispheres, the inner part of the cerebral hemispheres consisting of a group of deep associated structures are called the deep associated structures like amygdala and hippocampus, forming a complex structures called as a limbic lobe, or otherwise we can call as a limbic system. So that cerebral hemisphere, that means inner part of the cerebral hemispheres will consist of a group of structures are presenting, a group of deep associated structures which are presenting, such as amygdala and hippocampus, to form a complex structures. That complex structures is called as a limbic lobes, or we can call as a limbic system. This limbic system along with the cerebrum, that is the cerebrum, along with the hypothalamus. Here the main function of hypothalamus, that means here hypothalamus along with the cerebral hemispheres, and also that is cerebrum, and along with the hypothalamus, here it involves in the formation of the regulation of the sexual behavior and expressions of an emotional reactions. That means along with the cerebrum, here along with the cerebrum, along with the hypothalamus, here it helpful for the regulation of sexual behavior, and also it shows the emotional reactions like excitement, pleasure, fear, as well as motivations. These are taken place by the hippocampus, that is hypothalamus along with the cerebral hemispheres. Now coming to the functions of the hypothalamus, hypothalamus. So here hypothalamus, the functions, So here hypothalamus, the main function of the hypothalamus are it helpful for the metabolism of carbohydrates, metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins and the fats. And also these are mainly meant for the hypothalamus is regulates the body temperature, regulates regulates body temperature, and also responsible for the hungry, fear, and also the thirsty, that are taken place by the hypothalamus. That is mainly, these are meant for the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, regulates body temperature. So here it helpful for regulating the body temperature. So hypothalamus, presence of hypothalamus which regulates body temperature. So here hypothalamus is called as a thermostat. Here hypothalamus, it is called as the thermostat. Why it is called as the thermostat means it helpful for regulating a body temperature. That means it maintains a constant temperature present in our body of an organism, that is due to the presence of a warm blooded or a homeotherms that is maintained by the hypothalamus. So here due to the presence of hypothalamus, that is it acts as a thermostat. So here body cannot be changes. That means wherever you go, body temperature will not be changes. Why means hypothalamus regulates the body at temperature. So it is called as the thermostat. Not only that one, here it helpful for anger, hungry, fear, and also the thirsty. Along with this, along with the hypothalamus, that is cerebrum, with the hypothalamus, it helpful for regulating of the sexual behavior. That means along with the cerebrum and hypothalamus, here it helpful for the sexual behavior and also expression of emotional reactions such as excitement, pleasure means happiness, and also the fear, and also here it helpful for the motivation of an organisms. So this is taken place, these are the various functions which are presenting in the hypothalamus, that is the cerebrum, hypothalamus, and thalamus. So that are three parts which are present in the brain. So here in these will having in inner regions of the cerebral hemispheres will having a group of deep associated structures are present in, that is amygdala as well as hippocampus to form a complex structures called as a limbic system, or we can call it as a limbic lobes, where these limbic lobes along with the cerebrum and hypothalamus, these are responsible for the sexual regulation of sexual behavior and also the emotional reactions will be taken place. So these are the various functions which are performed by the cerebrum as well as hypothalamus as well as the thalamus, which is present in the forebrain. Next, coming to the second one, that is midbrain. So here a midbrain. Here the midbrain, it is also, that means the midbrain is also called as a mesencephalon. Mesencephalon. It is also called as the mesencephalon, where it is present between the forebrain. It is present between forebrain and the hind brain. It is present between the forebrain as well as the hindbrain, where here these midbrain which is presenting, it is consisting of, that means it consists of the two parts. One is called as a cura cerebri. It consists of two parts. One is called as a cura cerebri and second one is called as the corpora quadrigemina. So here we'll having the two structures, that means in midbrain will consist of two structures are presenting. The two structures which are presenting are called as the corpora, that is a cura cerebri and the corpora quadrigemina, and it having a small cavity called as an aqueduct. It consisting of a small cavity. It consists of small a cavity called as the cavity called cerebral aqueduct. It consists of the cerebral small cavity called as cerebral aqueduct, or an aorta which opens the third ventricle into the fourth ventricle of the medulla oblongata. And here it is helpful for the formation, that means here the midbrain and hindbrain forms the brain stem. Here a midbrain and hindbrain, midbrain and hindbrain forms the brain stem. So here the hindbrain means here it consists of the pons varale and a medulla oblongata. So in hindbrain we will having the pons varale and medulla oblongata, that is midbrain along with the pons varale and medulla oblongata, that forms the brain stem. It helpful for the formation of a brain stem. It is a formation is taken place. And here coming to the cura cerebri. Here what are cura cerebri means? A set of nerve fibers which are present on the a set of nerve fibers present on ventral surface of the brain, ventral side, present on the ventral surface. So such type are called as, that means a set of nerve fibers which are present on the ventral side of the midbrain are called as a cura cerebri, where this cura cerebri will present is helpful for connecting the brain. That means it connects the brain stem, that is it connects from forebrain to the hindbrain in the form of a brain stem. That means here it connects, that is cura cerebri will having a set of nerve fibers present on the ventral surface of the midbrain are called as cura cerebri, where this cura cerebri along with brain stem it connects with the forebrain. Next, a corpora quadrigemina. Here corpora quadrigemina means here it consists of the four lobes. It consists of the four lobes. Upper two lobes are called as upper two lobes are called as superior caniculi Upper two lobes are called as superior lobe superior caniculi, and the lower two lobes are called as an inferior caniculi. Upper two are called as inferior caniculi, and the lower two are called as inferior caniculi. So we will having a 4 lobes. Quadra means 4, gemina means quadra means 4, gemina means lobes. So here having a 4 lobes are presenting. That 4 lobes are, one is upper 2 are called as superior caniculi, and the lower 2 are called as an inferior caniculi. So these are the where that is taken place in the mid brain. Now coming to the functions of the mid brain. Functions of the midbrain. So here functions of the midbrain means it is main center for the regulation. It is main center for the regulation of a body. It is regulation of a body movements in response to the regulation of center for regulation of body movements. Regulation of body movements in response to visual and auditory reflex. So this is the functions which is taken place by the midbrain, and also here that is the cura cerebri, a set of nerve fibers which are presenting on the ventral surface of the midbrain. It connects the brain stem to the cerebrum. That is not only that one connecting brain stem to the cerebrum, and here the main center for regulation of body movements in response to the visual as well as an auditory reflex. Next, coming to the last one, that is the hindbrain, or otherwise it is called as a rhombencephalon. Rhombencephalon. It is also called as hindbrain or a rhombencephalon, where this the hindbrain, it consists of the 3 parts. One is called as that is a cerebellum. It is called as the cerebellum, and the second one is the pons orale, and the third one is a medulla oblongata. So these are the 3 structures which are presenting in the midbrain, that is hindbrain or the rhombencephalon, where the cerebellum. Here the cerebellum, here it is also called as a little brain. It is also called as the little brain, where here the cerebellum is also differentiated into 2 cerebellum hemispheres. Like how the cerebrum, that how the brain is divided into 2 cerebral hemispheres, the cerebellum is also differentiated into 2 cerebellum hemispheres. It is divided, where here it having an iter or an aqueduct, and also here it appears like an arborita. It appears as a arbovitae. Arbovitae means a tree-like branch. A branch. So that is called as an arbovitae, where here the 3rd ventricle is open into the 4th ventricle by an common passage that is a passage called as an aiter, where it is in the form of a vermis. That means the two cerebral aiter, that is cerebral and aqueduct, and also the two cerebral hemispheres, the two cerebellum hemispheres are connected by a small worm-like structures, that is worm-like structures called as a vermis. It is called as the vermis. What is vermis means? The two cerebellum hemispheres are connected with a worm-like structure. That worm-like structure is called as the vermis. So that is called as the cerebellum, where it is a little brain, and here the functions of the cerebellum. Here all muscular movements, and also the body is equilibrium. That means muscular movements and body, it is the functions of the cerebellum is it helpful for the body movements. That means muscular movements and also body equilibrium is maintained by the here it maintains the body muscular movements, body equilibrium, body and equilibrium, and also here it shows maintains body equilibrium and center for the coordination of muscular movements. It is the control of the muscular coordination of muscular movements. So here the main two main functions will be performing. That two main functions are, one is helpful for the body and equilibrium. It maintains the functions of cerebellum is it maintains body equilibrium, and also it helpful for responsible for the coordination of the muscular movements that are taken place, that are under the control of the equilibrium. Here best example we can taken place when a drinked person, here he cannot able to walk properly, where means here a body equilibrium will not be affected. That means that alcohol effect will be taken place on the cerebellum, so that he cannot able to walk properly. That is a body equilibrium will not be maintained. Not only that, it helpful for the formation of the coordination of muscular movements are also under the control of the cerebellum. Now coming to the second one, that is a pons varale. Here pons varale means here it is pons means a bridge. Pons means a bridge. It is a connection between the bridge, that is it is connecting from it is a bridge like connection between the medulla oblongata to the brain stem or to the cerebrum. It is in the form of brain stem, it is connected to the cerebrum. So it is acts as a pons varale, that is it is a connection between, like it connects like a bridge between the cerebellum and a medulla oblongata. And last one is that is called as the medulla oblongata. It is the last part, it is the last lower part of the brain. It connects to the spinal cord. It connects to the spinal cord. It is the last part of the brain, where it connects to a spinal cord. It connects to the spinal cord. So it is the last part of the body, or sorry, last part of the brain which is presenting is called as a medulla oblongata, where it is connected to the spinal cord. So that connection where it is the spinal cord, the medulla oblongata is entered into the spinal cord. So such region is called as the foramina of a magnum. The foramina of magnum. What is the foramina of magnum means? Where it connects the spinal cord, that means medulla oblongata is connected to the spinal cord. Such region is called as the foramina of a magnum. It is called as the foramina of a magnum. And here coming to the functions of the medulla oblongata. Here coming to the functions of a medulla oblongata means here it performs the various functions. It performs the various functions, that is functions of a medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. So here it is responsible, it is under the control of, here mainly it controls two organs, two main organs such as the respiration and a heartbeat. So here these are it controls two main functions, that is the two main organs it controls. One is the respiration, that is the lungs, it is controlled by the lungs, and also the respiration, and the heartbeat. Heart is under the control of the medulla oblongata. So if once the medulla oblongata is damaged, means here it leads to the death only. That is for accidents, for example, if severe accidents are taken place, here we say that a spot dead. So when spot dead means here it is damaging of a medulla oblongata. When medulla oblongata is damaged, here it's helpful for controlling of two main organs. One is respiration and heartbeat. So when respiration and heartbeat is stopped, it leads to the death of an organism. Not only that one, here it helpful for it controls. It is main regulation for regulation of digestive reflexes, digestive reflex such as secretion of gastric juice. It helpful for the digestive reflexes such as the salivation, secretion of gastric and gastric juices, and also defense reflexes, and also the defense reflexes such as coughing and vomiting, etc., that are under the control of the defense reflexes, and also gastric reflexes like salivation, secretion of gastric juice, secretion of the intestinal juices. These are under the control of the medulla oblongata, and also it performs other function. It acts as a vasomotor organ. That is, vasomotor organ means it acts as vasodilators and vasoconstrictors. That means vasodilator means here increase the lumen of the blood vessels. Here increase lumen of blood vessels, increase lumen of blood vessels, and decrease and increase and decreasing. So here increase of lumen of blood vessels is called as vasodilators. Here the decrease the lumen of blood vessels. So here decrease the lumen of blood vessels is called as vasoconstrictors, where here for example if it taken place in summer, if it is taken place, here heat will be eliminated outside. So here when sweat is produced, when outside body, that means when compared to body temperature, outside temperature is more, so that it increase the lumen of blood vessels, more blood vessels are secreted, where sweat pores are open and helpful for cooling of the body temperature. In winter season, what happens here, it helpful for the controlling. That means here it will decrease the lumen of blood vessels, so that here heat will not produce outside. So heat will be maintained, constant heat will be maintained in the cold season due to decreasing of a blood vessel. So the decreasing of blood vessels is called as vasoconstrictors, and increasing the lumen of blood vessels is called as a vasodilator. So it acts as a vasomotor and organ also. So these are the three main functions which is performed by the medulla oblongata. One is it helpful for control two vital organs such as respiration and heartbeat, and also it secretes, it regulates the digestive reflexes as well as defense reflexes, and it also acts as vasomotor like vasodilators and vasoconstrictors. So these are the three parts where they are presenting in the hindbrain, that is a cerebellum, a pons varale, and a medulla oblongata. So when coming to the diagrammatic representation, here this is the cerebrum. That means the grooves we can call as gyrase, and grooves, the muscular foldings are called as gyrase, and grooves are called as sulci, and the deep sulcus are called as fissures, and it is divided into two cerebral hemispheres, and it is the corpus callosum, a thick white nerve bands which are presenting, and it is a cerebral and aqueduct. This is a spinal cord, and this is pons varale, and this is a cerebellum, and it is a midbrain, and it is a thalamus as well as the hypothalamus. So thalamus is present upper region, below that will consist of hypothalamus. This hypothalamus, thalamus, and cerebellum, it consists of the forebrain. And midbrain, here midbrain will consist of cura cerebri as well as corpora quadrigemina. And here medulla oblongata, the cerebellum and pons varale, the three are combined with together to forms the hind brain. So this is a very important diagrammatic question in the theory also. So draw a neat labeled diagram of a brain or the cerebellum, or explain the structure of a brain or a cerebellum with their functions. So each part we have to write the specific, that means their structure as well as their function should be written. It is a very important diagrammatic question. So it is very important in the nervous system. That is, one is a neuron, and second one is the structure of the brain or the cerebrum. So in next class we will discuss the structure of the spinal cord. Later we will go for the that is a regulation of the nerve impulse, the conduction and regulation and conduction of a nerve impulse, that will be discussed. Lastly, that will be discussed. Okay, thank you.